This is Winging It, the somewhat whimsical, certainly whirring, decidedly wonky, seldom weighty, endlessly well-intentioned, and wildly witty show about music where one knows what's coming and the other doesn't. It happens in between both proper to ensure that you can spend anywhere from 15 to 180 minutes with us every week. So here we are again. We're doing it again. Another show where you have no fucking clue what's happening, and you like it that way, so we keep it that way.
Yeah, I do like it that way, and I got to say, I like it when you do the intro, because having had it thrust upon me, or I suppose I could own up to the fact that I volunteered to do Winging It once, I know how difficult that is to say. So it
is. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of verbal gymnastics.
Yeah, it's like a tongue twister, right?
It is.
And I'm trying to say with the level of enthusiasm I feel in my heart.
And professionalism.
And, of course, professionalism.
Professionalism, which we do hope we're getting that professional sound because of the production, audio production by the Wittershines.
The Wittershines. They are amazing. Those
you
two.
Guys,
thank you so much,
we couldn't do it without you.
We literally
we
couldn't.
Could not do it without
honestly, we literally could not.
Not without the Wittershines.
In fact, we feel bad because we've never given them their due. But they've been with us since the beginning.
From day one, yeah.
From day one. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Wittershine. So what are we talking about today? Well, I think this is an interesting topic and one that we will enjoy backstroking in. It is the most hated stars in the music industry.
No.
In the music industry, not like the most hated bands, like, oh, people hate the bands. The most hated stars, personalities, people.
Right. Their music can be good, but they suck.
They are just assholes. So,
of course, we gave Marilyn Manson some coverage some other time, so if he happens to end up on there, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I'm just going to throw out some. I don't know how many I'll get to, but I'm just going to go with it, and we're going to start with Kanye West. So, Kanye, well, does anyone on the planet have a bigger ego? Probably not, right? And there was that Taylor Swift thing, the whole Beyonce should have won. Yep. Oh, hey, but I'm really happy for you. Are you? You totally, took my minute, so I don't think you are. So, Kanye West, what say you on the West?
Well, I will give him credit for owning up to the fact that he used to be an egotistical blowhard. I mean, he kind of humbled himself and said, yeah, I know, I used to say stupid, obnoxious shit and everything. I mean, he did. He used to grumble that, obviously, he was oppressed because he only won 22 Grammys. But, and the Taylor Swift thing, I mean, to steal her moment and with his opinion that Beyonce should have won, horrible, obnoxious. However, he did... I mean, he still acts a little whack. I'm not saying he doesn't.
He is whack.
He is whack, but at least he stopped, being quite so arrogant, I think.
I don't know. I mean, I can't forget, though, asking a music, or suggesting, rather, that a music critic commit suicide and stuff. I mean, he's pretty messed up.
Oh, did he do that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest.
In a song or in just speaking?
Because he was upset with the music critic.
I see.
Of course. I mean, that's what you do whenever you're upset with what somebody says about your music. You tell them they should kill themselves. I mean, sure, who doesn't?
Well, it happens to everybody who expresses their opinion on the internet, but it shouldn't.
It should not. That is
I can't tell you how many times I've been told that.
Do not follow in Kanye West's footsteps, please. Yeah. Do not follow it. So yeah, I liked Gold Digger. That was my favorite song. Otherwise, I'm kind of out on the Kanye. I don't get it. I never understood it.
I don't even like the Gold Digger thing much, but I did borrow a record. I mean, this is borrowing albums from the library. I'm one of those people who does that shit. So I actually borrowed the Yeezus album, and I was kind of impressed. I got to admit, the guy really does.
He's a very good rapper
and a producer. I mean, and his lyrics are not half bad either.
But you're not helping right now with his ego.
No, yeah. I hope if he's listening, he's going to go right back to the way.
I know, it's over.
The monster that he was before.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything. But no, of course that's inexcusable. There's probably a lot of things he did that I don't know about that are inexcusable.
Clearly a talented
man.
But
since we're not talking about talent, we're talking about just
behavior.
Being hate factor, the haterade. I would say, I understand people. I used to feel that way about him. In fact, I worked him into a song of mine because of his sullen. He's the Kanye-saurus in my song, sort of hip-hop Camelot, which, of course, who drives him out? Well, Professor P. Soup does, obviously.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and so I actually mentioned him in a song as being just one of those people who spreads misery everywhere he goes. But I kind of softened my view on him a little bit because I'm just a naturally soft and forgiving kind of guy.
Okay, well, then I will look forward to hearing that for this next person. Remember, you said you were a soft and forgiving guy.
Well.
No. I'm going to hold you to that.
Conditions apply.
No, well, you didn't say that.
No, they don't. I do.
No,
they don't.
You're very sweet.
Yep.
Axl Rose. The Guns N' Roses singer obviously is famous for his demanding behavior in the studio, his perfectionism, his hot temper, And he's the main reason it took 10 years to record and more than 13 million to produce Chinese Democracy.
You know, I've never even heard that album, believe it or not.
I've heard parts of it. I like it, but I like Guns N' Roses. I do. I think they're very talented.
I remember it having really kind of a dipshit cover, but that was kind of what was cool
it's
about
a
it.
dipshit cover,
I mean, it's like a bicycle leaning up against the wall or
Yeah,
something.
I mean,
but I mean, in a way, it's kind of minimalistically brilliant. I don't know. But,
I like it.
I mean, we excuse people for having solid color album covers. I think they went a little harder than that, at least, you know. But I did actually... as long as he doesn't do covers, I think Axl Rose is good. Guns N' Roses is a terrific band. Perhaps a little bit of filler on some of that Use Your Illusion stuff here and there, but I pared it down to maybe an album and a half. But their stuff still really rocks my world, I gotta say.
It rocks.
As for him as a person, I don't know if he's grown or evolved.
Nobody likes him.
Nobody likes him still.
Well, because...
because I don't read the gossip stuff. I mean, I'm finding out this for the first time pretty much.
He's older now, and I think there's probably some humility that starts to creep in, but he is still... I mean, if you want to record an album with him, I think you're going to find that he's still a perfectionist. He's still demanding. He still has a hot temper. He wants the way he wants it. You know?
I imagine he would be pretty difficult to work with. However, I got to salute him for, stepping up and assuming the lead vocal duties of another band altogether.
For sure.
Totally different band, AC/DC, and I don't care what anybody says. I think he did a really good job with that, as much as anybody could. And so... Yeah, as an artist, I think a lot of them still. As a person, well,
obviously,
some of these guys,
still out.
It's like a nice place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there. He's nice to listen to, but you wouldn't want to live with him.
Right,
I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I don't disagree at this point, and I think there's plenty of evidence out there that he's a substandard human, or at least was at one time. Hopefully, he's grown up a lot, because I do think he's incredibly talented. Chris Brown. Obviously, we know in 2009 he was accused of violently...
that Chris Brown?
That one,
yeah, okay.
Yes. He was accused of violently assaulting Rihanna, allegedly hitting her several times in the face and even biting her. And of course, like a true gentleman, admitting his wrongs, no, he continued to heckle her in the social media. So, yeah, class act all the way around. And so, yeah, people hate him. I certainly hated him since I saw that, and didn't like his music before then, don't like it now. So, yeah. What say you?
Yeah, he doesn't even, unlike the other guys, he doesn't even have music to redeem him.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Nah, don't care for him, don't care for his music. Hopefully he's grown and gotten that. I'm always willing to accept anyone turning over a new leaf, any redemption stories. I love those. Hopefully he's become a new person. But based on what I know about him, yeah, he belongs in the trash heap.
Yeah, pretty much. And just so all y'all listening right now aren't saying, oh, well, you don't even know good music. I like R&B. I like even some current R&B, some hip-hop, and some rap. He just does not float my boat.
Bobby Brown, yes. Chris Brown, no. I mean, see, Bobby Brown is some good R&B sometimes.
Oh, hell yeah. I love Bobby.
I was walking along the other day.
I don't like him as a person either.
No, there you go,
good
right?
Music.
My Prerogative came on. I'm like, fuck, that's a hell of a jam.
It's a great song.
And it's not the only one. Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Right now they're like...
So it isn't an R&B thing.
No.
We love R&B. Who, us? I might accept... sterilized versions of R&B classics which I was berated publicly for before, but I do love R&B in its pure form. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well,
just
what about,
not whatever Chris Brown does doesn't count.
It doesn't work for me. What about Courtney Love? So she's obviously famous for being married to Kurt Cobain
and killing him.
Oh, God.
Of course, I don't think that myself.
Shit. You fucking went there.
I don't think that myself.
Holy shit. The gloves have come off, ladies and gentlemen.
And I said that in perfect sync with like 85% of the listeners.
You're right, exactly.
They're thinking it, and I'm saying it exactly the same moment.
So basically, you just tapped into our audience, said what they were thinking, and now you're their hero. No, it's beautiful.
And it isn't what I think either.
No, absolutely. So she's an established musician, air quotes, and actress in her own right, air quotes, and probably the most hated woman on the grunge music scene. Why? Well, they do think that she contributed to, if not actually inspired, him to kill himself. She's been addicted to drugs and alcohol, and has a horrible public relationship with her daughter. Because, and as you know, her daughter emancipated herself when she was 17 to get the fuck away from her mom.
I seem to, as much as I avoid these things, I do seem to recall hearing that.
Yeah, I just want you to know that even though you're saying you're above all this stuff, it's fucking fun, and we're having a moment.
It is interesting. In this context here, there's a lot of things that come up that I have heard whispers about, no details because I don't seek them out. There are certain things you can't avoid, and these little scuttlebutt things are exactly that. But I've heard a lot about her. Hole was pretty good, I thought.
I like Hole.
I like Hole.
I don't have any real issues with her. I mean, I'm not saying that
know
she's
anything
a brilliant
personally
musician.
bad about her.
Well,
No,
these
yeah.
things. I mean, her daughter hates her, and
Well,
and
yeah,
it says
but I
it
mean-
but what daughter doesn't hate their parents at some
Yeah,
point?
well, I mean, and especially if dad killed himself, and you think mom might have even remotely been involved with it, or should have seen it coming,
Or
or who knows what.
inspired it in some way.
it, or didn't prevent it, or whatever.
Exactly. Well, what about Fred Durst?
Oh, and as far as acting, I've never seen her in anything that I know of. Have you, acting-wise? Wasn't she in that Larry Flint thing with Woody Harrelson?
She's been in a few things, and she actually does a very good job,
I
to
haven't
be
seen
honest.
any, though. I imagine she would.
She really is. She's got an intensity about her, which is why her music is so good, and I like to watch her perform live and do videos. She's got that persona. She's got that energy, so I like to watch her perform, and I think she is actually a really good actress. I haven't seen her in enough. I'd like to see her in more, but I'm not sure if she's past her prime for the film industry or not. But maybe she can play someone's grandma at some point. Oh, that would suck.
Some people stay in and just get older, more
I
mature
would do
parts,
it.
and hell yeah, I think
I'm
it's
sorry,
great.
if you're going to pay me some millions of dollars, I'll play a grandma all day long if you want. So what about Fred Durst, the singer for Limp Bizkit?
Well, the very fact that he's the singer for Limp Bizkit, you would kind of expect
kind of hate him.
a litany of bad behavior, but I don't know any particular stories. I just know he is very widely disliked.
I think this is kind of, I want to say that he's got a public persona of kind of being kind of an asshole and kind of like an egotistical guy, but that's kind of part of like the rap game. I'm just saying, I mean, it's
Every
like,
day is just one of those days.
It's kind of, well, and you say that about rappers in general, or maybe some performers in general, but I find that I don't like Limp Bizkit. The Nookie, the song about the Nookie, the whole thing. I didn't mind that at the time, but I think, however many decades later it is, I think we're good. And he's actually playing a show here not too long from now.
Oh,
and I'm
really?
like, really, dude? But they kind of, he kind of does new metal is what they call it, but he's rappy to me, but whatever. They think that he's like an angry white man. That's what the whole thing is. I'm like, why does he have to be white? He's just angry. He's a pissed dude. And he makes music about being pissed, and I'm cool with that. That's fine.
Now, from what I've heard, I like their style of rap metal a lot more
Yeah.
than like fucking Linkin Park. I can't stand.
I like Linkin Park.
See, I don't.
Yeah.
I absolutely abhor them.
I
but
worry
I can deal
because,
with Limp Bizkit.
See, now you say that stuff.
Yeah.
I need you to go back and listen to them because I think you need to just new ears because remember the whole Foo Fighters fiasco. I'm just saying, let's try again. Let's try again.
I've heard each very recently, but what kind of bad behavior and dirty tricks has Mr. Durst allegedly been up to?
Well, I think they just consider him really angry and really kind of nasty and, kind of quick to temper, quick to be irritated. And the thing is I think that's a persona. I don't know that that's who he is as a person, but it says also that he was a victim of harassment throughout his childhood and he detests some of the bully-like members of his audience. So he's got members of his audience who kind of bully him and stuff like that while he's on stage. That's kind of a big deal. And I get that. Who would like that? So then, of course, I would be mad and I'd be angry.
I hate anyone booing and heckling and things like that. You know what? If you don't like something, just stand there and be quiet.
And why are you at his show?
Yeah.
If you don't like him, I mean, I don't get it. So yeah, if you're going to go to somebody's show, even if it's an opening act, don't be fucking disrespectful.
Oh no!
If you don't like it, go buy a shirt.
Yeah, go buy a shirt. Yeah, the only opening act I actually never watched in my life. This is funny because I watch opening acts like very closely. The only one I ever skipped was one that a lot of people would pay to see. That would be what, Liam Gallagher or Noel Gallagher? One of those Gallagher guys. One of those Wonderwall guys, that I really didn't care about. I heard some of the stuff sounded okay, and I thought, oh, well, I'll still buy this T-shirt. I hear it well enough. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring it up because Liam Gallagher is one of the most hated.
There you go.
So, there's
by anybody but his brother.
Yeah, people don't like it. Well, they've seen the hot temper, they've seen the anger, they've seen all that stuff, and people are out. But it's not like it's a one-way street. Maybe Liam starts it more, but they both participate. Liam would certainly, I'd say, and MSN.com, also, which is where we got this amazing article. He would definitely win the biggest ego contest. I don't want to lie to you. He certainly would. And his name regularly appears at the top of the list of the biggest hated rock stars because of how he treats his brother, because he's so quick to anger, all that shit. I mean, he really is kind of a nasty article.
Well, I think a certain level of diva behavior was characteristic of Fred Durst, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fighting, but wasn't he in fights and stuff like that?
I believe so, yeah.
Now, but the Gallagher guy, I don't know much about him or the group, actually. I just know that I never liked what I heard much, and I thought I didn't get the hype. It's
I don't get it.
They're like the new Beatles. And I was like,
no,
really?
They're not. No.
They're what a band that was in Wayne's World, the Shitty Beatles.
Oh yes, the Shitty Beatles.
The Shitty Beatles. Are they good? No, they suck. Oh, then it's not just a clever name.
No, it works. It's also descriptive.
Great little exchange there between Mike Myers and Meatloaf in Wayne's World. You got to see that.
Good stuff. Yeah. So Lars Ulrich is the drummer that has become sort of a running joke on the metal scene, which is kind of, sad. But every time a musician dies, there are those that say that should have been Ulrich.
Really? I never heard that. That's brutal.
Yes. Why is it so hard to say? It says why? Because it's hard to say whether it's his limited drumming skills or, of course, the Napster scandal for which he was held responsible.
Yeah, I know. And there were cartoons made of him. Remember the Camp Chaos cartoons, needling Lars. And I don't think artists should be ripped off, and a lot of artists, Madonna and a lot of artists were in on the fighting against Napster, as they damn well should have been.
I think so, too.
You don't give away people's intellectual property and say, I'm sharing. Share your own shit, not somebody else's.
Share your own shit.
But Lars, I salute him for braving, the public attack, because, the knucklehead rock mentality, hey, man, stick it to the man. You know what? People deserve to be paid. Artists deserve to be paid. I know nobody will ever pay me, but I deserve. I want them to pay others at least. But and I'm so tired of hearing about his limited drumming skills. Have you ever actually listened to Metallica? I think it takes a hell of a lot of drumming skill to keep up with that band. Personally, that's just me. But she's over here like, not so much.
I think the problem is I think he's a fine drummer. He works perfect for what he's doing. I think the problem is, the more we go on, and the more, you hear music, you're hearing, drummers like Pat Mostellato and Neil Peart, and you're like, oh shit. But that's not what he's there to do. He's not a Bill Bruford. He's not doing any of that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's there to be a metal drummer, and that's what he's fucking doing. And I think he does a fine job. Lil Wayne, should he change his name to Little Lawsuit Magnet? The singer's been sued for leaving unpaid jewelry bills, injuring concert goers, committing plagiarism, canceling shows, neglecting royalty payments, and the list goes on and on and on. So Lil Wayne should just retire and go incognito.
As Nigel Tufnell said, but there's nitpicking in it.
I'm not really
Lil Wayne,
sure.
you mean like the greatest lead guitar player ever? You ever see his guitar solo online? It's great. It's the greatest thing ever. I swear. I mean, he makes me blush. I mean, I wish I could just aspire to be like Lil Wayne. But Mr. Crunk himself, you think getting crunk might have to do with something? Is he the crunk guy?
I don't know who he... I mean, I like Lil Wayne, but I don't remember if he's crunk guy or not.
No, if he's the guy who uses that term or coined that term. One of those... Well, I think it was Lil Wayne. Yeah.
I don't know. Crunk has been out there a while, but I think Lil Wayne's talented. It's too bad that he's, done all of these things that have, garnered him such a bad name. But you know what? They're his to own and his to have to deal with. Just like
some of them got to be true.
I think they probably are. I mean, it's all public record, all that stuff.
He's like the Marilyn Manson of rap, basically.
Well, speaking of rap, Eminem. People hate Eminem. He was considered audacious and irreverent, of course. Now, however, he seems to become a parody of himself, starting arguments with numerous musicians, using homophobic slurs in his songs, and offending loads of people on his latest album. that's just what he does. That's Eminem. He's going to push the envelope. He's going to piss you off. He's going to say shit you don't like. Now, I don't think you should use homophobic slurs, of course. I don't think you should make fun of anybody else or be, purposely mean. But I think, one of the things that makes me sad is I feel like we're not able to make fun of people anymore. And that's kind of fun, is making fun of ourselves. I think we have a license to make fun of ourselves for sure. So a parody of himself, that's fine. But, I just think he's always going to be that guy. He's always pissing somebody off. He's always saying something that bothers people. That's who Eminem is, and I'm cool with it. Great music.
Absolutely great music. Terrific lyricist, and a lot of, he takes the piss out of himself, a lot of self-deprecating humor. He talks about how he destroys his own career and the reckless things he does in raps. He's really quite clever. And, he's a button pusher, and he does it on purpose, and, it's not the kind of guy you want to be around if you're going to be easily, set off, but I think he's pretty brilliant, actually. And I don't know about I think he might have mellowed out. No, he doesn't mellow out. What am I saying?
What are you talking?
He doesn't mellow out.
No,
yeah.
He's provocative. He's somebody who's always going to push the envelope, and if you don't like it, don't listen. And you can hate him. That's fine. Go ahead and hate. He didn't give a shit.
He's like the South Park of rap.
Yeah, he's gonna keep selling fucking records whether we like him or not. Same with all of these people.
Yeah, that sucker is good, man. Well, I used to actually. There's one of the few rappers on earth I actually owned records by. I had all of his stuff up until I think Encore.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah. Absolutely. I think you should listen to him, and if you don't, you're missing out because he's fucking talented. So, Em, if you're listening, you're
a snowflake, he'll melt you, but, apart from that, he's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, I just want the real Slim Shady to please stand up, which I assume he is. So, oh, boy. From Slim Shady to Mariah Carey. The word diva was made for this woman.
First thing that popped into my head.
Absolutely. She's a diva. Now, it's so funny because women sometimes are called divas. Like, somebody's like, oh, how are you doing today, diva? I'm like, do not call me that. I am not a diva. And they think it's not an affectionate term. It's not a positive term. It's for somebody who throws tantrums, who's bitchy, who's demanding, probably even condescending, all those kinds of things. I mean, she once sang to her backup singer, stop singing my part now, baby. Sang. Because it's her part. How about you just shut the fuck up? She also, refused to sit down for an interview because she didn't want to wrinkle her dress. I mean, are you kidding me right now?
Thankfully, the term queen came along to remove the confusion of being called diva, because it certainly has negative connotations.
It does.
That I've always heard, Now, prima donna has a legitimate use, but where it doesn't have to be negative. But diva, that one,
I don't want that.
That one in our culture has pretty much always been negative.
Yeah, you don't want that. I mean, Aretha Franklin, they would call her a diva. Now, I feel like that's different. Aretha Franklin, if she is demanding something, well, poor Aretha's gone, but if she was demanding something, you wanted to give it to her because of how much respect you had for her and and because of how big a talent she was and that she paid her dues and she did all that stuff. She didn't demand it. You wanted to give it to her because she's a legend. Mariah Carey, I think, is a legend, but again, unfortunately, she's more well known lately, the last several years, for her voice not sounding great anymore, and for how she treats people.
And I've heard the same things, vague things, but I've heard them, and they've followed her, so they mostly probably are true, I would imagine.
Yeah.
As for her, music, as for her singing, she has a great voice. But most of the time, I think it's misused in a lot of bellowing like a crazed she-moose. So,
oh my God.
A lot of pipes exhibitions and, listen how loud I can sing and how long I can hold this note. Not so much melody and really a lot of weak songs and everything. But, I can kind of see why she's, how people can be so unpopular and still sell millions of records. Although she hasn't really in some years, I think.
No,
there was that one they marked down her record to 17 cents, so a bunch of people would buy it, I think.
I mean, it's been a while since she's had a hit, but Mariah Carey is an absolute undisputed, one of the best vocalists of our times. I mean, her voice, nobody sings like Mariah. Nobody has the ability to sing like her. It's like Mariah Carey, it was Whitney Houston.
I'll take Whitney. Yeah.
Mariah, I'm not asking you to choose.
Yep.
Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, you had Aretha Franklin. I mean, those, you have the big ones. And, her music isn't my favorite thing, but God, what she could do with her voice. If I could only do 1/100th of what she could do with that voice, I might have actually been famous. Because just an amazing voice. I mean, I go back to like Vision of Love, and that's what I'm talking about. That was the authenticity. So I'm a fan of her voice, not necessarily her music. But sadly, her voice seems to have taken a turn. So that's too bad. But we always have all her, all the past music. So people hate her, and I think there's some good reason. But it's always kind of sad when people hate people. But, your behavior will dictate how people see you.
Right, and of course the public seems to always be looking for somebody to hate for some reason. So, unfortunately, these people just make it easy for them.
So, Kid Rock. So people hate Kid Rock. Kid Rock has been hated since he came out of the gate. So in his vocabulary, gay seems to have replaced the word shit. He uses gay all the time. And I guess he also loves to wave the Confederate flag at his concerts, which has not earned him any love. It's something that, he does. They say, oh, he's a patriot. He waves a Confederate flag. It could, offend people. So I don't know.
Well, being a patriot, waving the obsolete flag of the rebel half the union that was defeated and also has all sorts of negative baggage associated with it. I mean, to me, it doesn't just mean the South. So, and I wouldn't deliberately provoke people like that. So, I didn't know he did that, actually.
Again, another thing, I'm going to say the same thing, even though I'm not a huge Kid Rock fan. It's the same thing. He's a provocateur. That's something that rap does, right? Is they're there to kind of, inflame and excite and, be provocative. That's what they do.
Yeah, with his explicit, well, at least in the early days, very explicit lyrics. Now, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Is another example of where you mix rap and hard rock and it works out okay, in my opinion, from a musical standpoint. I thought some of the earlier lyrics were just so puerile. They were just like, let's be dirty just for the hell of it and just to act like 12-year-olds and everything. I don't know. I didn't care for a lot of it, but musically, I thought he had some good stuff going on. But I didn't know he was kind of trying to piss people off on purpose, like Eminem, I guess, in another way.
Yeah. I've never cared for his music, really. It didn't really do anything for me.
For some reason, it works better with Eminem than it does with him,
Yeah, and I wonder why that is.
I don't know why. Eminem is such a shrewd humor about what he does. I mean, he's hilarious. He does these manic hysteria. He's like sort of an inspiration to me in some of the music that I do. The manic, shrill vocal, and then the menacing, scary stuff. And he'll turn it on and off in a matter of seconds and do these wacky impressions and everything and tell these hilarious stories. So to me, Kid Rock doesn't have any of that going on. So,
no, he doesn't. He just has like the look. I mean, didn't he used to do like the hat and the wife beater? And I say that respectfully. That's what I've always called it. Sorry, the muscle shirt.
Is that what
undershirt? The
yes,
the white undershirt.
The tank,
he would just wear it, and you're just like, oh, dude, So I think he was a parody of himself when he started, and he continues to be a parody of himself and continue to piss people off for different reasons now. But he's pretty much rendered himself obsolete. So the next one is Bono. The U2 singer loves to take the moral high ground on several issues, equality, the environment, but the message, even if the message is good, fewer and fewer people of the public are listening. Even in his home country of Ireland, they find him self-righteous, and a word has even been invented to describe his sermons, monotonous.
Monotonous?
Yes. So
ouch.
I just... we've had this discussion a long, long time ago. I don't get it. I mean, because somebody tries to go the positive route, we're going to beat them down. So it doesn't matter if you go negative or positive, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. You're self-righteous because you try to use your name to do something good. I just don't get that. And I don't think that artists should shut up. I think people should be able to say what they want to say. But yeah, what an asshole for caring about the environment and equality. What a dick.
There are artivists, yeah. See, talk about coining new words.
Artivists, I like it.
There are artists who are activists. Hey, there you go, artivists. You heard it here first, okay? There are. I want a royalty from all the T-shirts, okay?
You should. Let's make
There
some.
are artivists, artistic activists out there who manage to, be passionate about their views, and even if I'm totally on the other side from them, and I respect what they do. They're not assholes about it. And I think Bono is one of them. I don't Bono
get it.
has never rubbed me the wrong way.
Me neither. I don't get
No.
it. I mean, and even if you don't agree with him, he's just like, hey, I want you to consider this. Let's think about this, and maybe it's a call to action. I mean, even back in their punk days, they had calls to action and stuff, but a lot of music does, have that aspect of it. So I don't understand the beating down of people for sharing, but yeah, again, Bono, I guess you should stop. No more equality and no more caring about the environment. Fuck all that shit. And just, you know what? Wave the Confederate flag, apparently.
And, anybody out there who has like a hard-on for Bono because of something he said, you got to remember, this is a guy who, and I don't even know how the song goes, but I know he wrote a song called The Miracle of Joey Ramone.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. I mean, they love the Ramones that much. You got to give them a little bit of grace for that.
That's one of their all-time
Oh,
favorites.
absolutely,
I mean, they're
yeah,
just,
yeah.
they are definitely
Ramones,
Ramones
Sex
disciples.
Pistols,
Absolutely.
yeah.
They credit them for their inspiration, and they were super punk in the beginning. Yeah. So also, we talked a while ago about how the punk scene is seen negative, but they have a lot of the punk scene is really for positive things. They're got a negative name just because, they that they feel like they dress kind of like rebellious. So what? Their hearts are in the right place. And I think Bono has a punk heart. He wants to do things that are good for people, that are good for the environment, but he's also going to rage if he needs to rage. So I don't get it.
And a lot of punk also was just like, it had a point, but it took it to, overblown theatric. It was theater. I mean, ask John Lydon, a.k.a. Johnny Rotten, today. It's a show. I mean, there's like a joke. There's a kernel of truth to it. There's a point to it.
Right.
But we're going to have fun with it. I mean, we're not going to be boring, monotonous.
That's so awful.
That's
the worst.
Funny and awful,
Funny,
too.
awful, yes. Monotonous, yes. There you go.
I'm so glad that was brought to my attention. I'd gone all these years without hearing that term. And
you were how old? You were this many years old before you learned that.
Yeah, I mean, how long ago they came up with that one?
It's a while.
That he's been making these monotonous speeches.
Stop it.
I like it. Okay.
You think he likes it?
Okay, Kid Rock, we did Bono, and who are we up to now?
Well, we're going to stop there.
Okay.
Because we could go on all night with people that are hated, but
notice
those
Marilyn Manson got left off.
This was only 3 days ago. Apparently, they're just trying to give him a break because, you'd think.
And honestly,
he'd be on it.
Gene Simmons, I mean...
If the more egotistical you are, the more I want out. So, yeah, I mean, there's some artists that would certainly be on my most hated list.
But you love Bono. Kidding. I'm kidding. Of course.
I don't know anything about the look I'm giving him.
I don't know anything about Bono.
It ain't even good.
Just what I've heard, that's all.
Yeah, so you think that Gene Simmons is contributing more to the good of the world than Bono is?
Well, may I be frank?
Yes.
It's apples and oranges.
Right. Because Gene Simmons ain't never eaten a righteous apple, okay? Yeah, he's only in it for himself.
He's the boss.
So, yeah, the boss of himself. So he would definitely be on my most hated list. Do you have any that are on your most hated list?
Let's see. Who really pisses me off? Let me think.
Has Marilyn pissed you off enough?
Nah, well,
See,
not
pissed me
now
off.
that I hear this stuff and everything. But I wasn't going around with this, attitude against this person, this antipathy, if you will. But she's looking like what? That's an everyday word.
Who says that?
Antipathy.
Who says that shit?
But none are coming to mind. Perhaps I'll bring them up on another show where it will be
think about
totally
that.
out of context and nobody will understand what I'm talking about.
Well, think about
We'll
that.
be doing another show and I'll be like, who I really can't stand this
And
person.
I'll be like, what the fuck are we talking about? You're like, but I digress.
It's all very kind of linear, so you really got to tune into every episode.
You have to. And if you missed any, just go back and start again.
Yeah.
So, we'll come up with more lists maybe potentially later. But if you have some people that you really, really hate and you want to share them, both on air at gmail.com, let us know. Are any of these on your most hated list? Or do you think that they shouldn't be hated? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? What do you think? So, well, since we talked about that, I went through as many people as I could. I can't think of any people I hate. I know there are, except, I'd say I'm not a fan of Gene Simmons for all these reasons. Aside from his music, I'm not even talking about his music, but I think that leaves, at this point, since we don't know, it only leaves for you to say one thing, and then we can call this show in the can.
Let's fly this coop.
This has been Birds of a Feather on What the Flock Radio.